Kia ora. Today is the 16th of July 2022. It is a Saturday. All day, strangely enough. It's the quote-unquote official weekend. I work 4 days on, 3 days off, so, this is the second day of my weekend, but hopefully yours is going well. We started the day well. I'll post it up a bit later on, hopefully. Out feeding the ducks this morning, and I'm not sure if you recall the girl duck who I posted up like a morning chores video or something. It was a bit of a marathon video, sorry. A little ways back, 3 or 4 weeks back, and I'd hunted her nest down because she wandered off and made her nest somewhere. Well, guess what? She brought out for breakfast this morning was 10 baby ducklings. So she's a definite keeper. She's the duck who co-mommed one of the other girl duck's babies. So 10 ducks, I think, is her 10 ducklings. Sorry, is her capacity. So we'll see how she goes. We did get some attritions. Hope we won't get too many, but welcome to the world of Muscovies. If you do have Muscovy ducks, be warned, they are prolific. We will have to, we have to remedy that situation. But that's the whole point of having Muscovy ducks is they're there for meat. So that's definitely on the horizon. But yeah, just quick mental math. She is 10 and the other 3 that we know are nesting. 2 of those I know for sure definitely have over 10 eggs. And we're coming up in the next week or so to the ends of those cycles. So I guess we're going to have a lot of ducklings again. And we're going to get, technically another breeding cycle in before the end of the year. So yeah, we're going to have to work something out around that. Particularly with kind of moves in mind. But anyway, good problems to have. So after this I've got to race down to go and secure some baby food, because like I said, we're all out. Anyway, don't want to talk about ducks. Well, I do want to talk about ducks because ducks are cool. But I wanted to talk about gardens and food and food production and a little bit about food storage, because it has been on my mind. Kind of how lucky we have it here when we have everything attached. We have water comes out of a tap. We have, I'm not saying it's the best water in the world, but nonetheless, we have water. It comes out of a tap. We're powered just at the flick of a switch, except when there are rolling brownouts and things. But anyway, I digress. But basically, we have power at the flick of a switch. We have the ability to do this kind of stuff, and then connect to the internets and upload and download and all these good things. First world stuff that I think these days we just take for granted. And food, food. We go to the local grocery store and pick up stuff from there, and it's all in freezers and nicely laid out. And we're getting very overgrown here today. It's starting to turn into a bit of a jungle. This is what happens when you don't have sheep. But anyway, gardens. So gardens and gardening. So this year we didn't do a garden because we had plans for moving, and there's a lot of work that goes into, not actually so much, well, I take that back, there's a lot of work in growing the garden. We do straw bale gardens. But around this time of year when stuff is growing and you're dealing with various types of pests, and you're basically harvesting all the early harvesters and then you're having to process them and blah, 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 blah. It is actually quite a lot of work to put into your food growth and production. And this isn't all the food that we normally eat anyway, because we all grow a certain number of crops or certain types of crops, and we're always supplementing it with something else. And we have a lot of carnivores in our family, so meat is high on the list. But meat, I'm not sure if you've noticed it, but meat is really bloody expensive at the moment and going up. It's not to say you can't get bargains, but you really got to look out for them. So anyway, gardens and gardening and food production. My thoughts are always at the moment around what are we going to have to do different. And I spend probably too much time at the moment, but bad week and all the rest of it. I just need to keep busy. Stop thinking overly hard about other things. But anyway, food production and storage and stuff. So when you have power is scarce or limited. It's probably not scarce is not the word, but it is. Power is everywhere. But harnessing it and storing it to make use will be a scarce commodity. Space will be at a premium for a period of time. You can put buildings in, but if you want to, root cellars are definitely one option that we are looking at, as possibly some early earth bag projects. But basically food storage, you need to keep it relatively climate controlled, and you need to keep it away from predators and pests and things. And in our modern world, we usually use coolers of various types, air conditioning units, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of modern appliances that we still have to take for granted. And when I say we're going off grid, I'm not saying we're going to go ye oldie schooly. And it honestly does have some appeal increasingly, but there's a reason why our grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and all the greats beyond that, worked as hard as they did just to survive, make ends meet. So, and they were creature comforts were a genuine luxury, whereas now we're just like, I'll just crank up the AC a little, crank down the AC a little, whatever, turn the heating on. So gardens and food preservation, and that also extends to food storage, I should say. Food preservation, extends to things like canning. I have all the canners and stuff, but everything I've done so far has largely been on electric ovens. But we have a grill, we have burners, we have all that good stuff. It just means that we will be doing things differently. The process doesn't largely change, but you've got to think about storage again, temperature regulation. So root cellars become, like I said, a very, very attractive proposition. And then there's meat production, and we're looking into getting as established as possible. But when you start bringing livestock into the mix, you also bring a large anchor with you, because they are, while they'll graze and do all the bits and pieces depending on what kind of animals you have, you're still anchored. It limits your ability to go back and forth and do things for long periods of time, because somebody needs to keep an eye out for them. So we can't just willy-nilly uproot. This is why, unfortunately, we had to find a new home for the sheep and the pigs, is that while they originally factored into our plans here in Ohio, We just, we just don't have the ability to look after them properly in the manner that they need to be looked after for a while. So, let alone being able to butcher them and process them and store the meat and hang the meat and all these things. And doesn't mean we can't use local resources, but just these are all just ongoing factors. Whereas in our modern world, we just slip down the road to the local store and buy some steaks or whatever. Not these days, steaks getting pretty pricey, but you get the idea. So yeah, food production is one thing. I don't think we'll change our process of doing it initially, as long as we can get hold of straw bales. I think certainly for a few years we'll still be doing that, because they make for easy raised beds, and we know that we can manage what kind of crops grow in those, and we know that we can have pretty good success. With the caveat being we're moving to Tennessee and a new zone, so there'll be some different kinds of insects and bugs and things to deal with. Anywho, food processing and stuff is still key. So honestly, I haven't really kind of sorted this out. It will be Dawn and I for a while, depending on whether we manage to make it down in September or whether that drags into October or whatever. We'll determine what we can and can't do. Weather-wise, if it gets cooler, that will actually work in our favour, because we can probably get more outdoorsy stuff done. It is entirely possible that, and I hope that this isn't the case, but, we may not just be able to make it down there at all this year. But, we just have to wait and see. There's a lot to do up here as well. And best intentions aside, there's no point in making things more difficult than you need. So anyway, I rabbited on a bit too much there. Looks like I've managed to lure one of the boys over into the other area. Say good morning. Good morning. Such good boys. Excellent guard ducks. Sadly, probably not long for this world, I kind of suggest, but we won't tell him that. He's very happy at the moment. Big waggle tail. Okay, thought of the day. Don't really have a thought of the day. I think that this is kind of the thought of the day, because this will probably be ongoing. I guess if I was to say anything, don't take your life for granted as it stands. Really genuinely appreciate. Oh, we've got more of them coming. More of the boys. Oh, they're finally getting brave enough to come into this area. Don't be afraid to, take a few chances. But I think really just appreciate what you do have for what it is. But bear in mind that we live in interesting times, to say the least. And while you're doing those thoughts and reflections, look at some of the basics that will allow you to maintain a comfort of life. And within your capabilities and resources, maybe think about, what would happen if those weren't as readily available. What would you do? If someone cut your water off, cut your power off, and most of us have experienced short outages. What happens if there is a long and protracted outage? 1 day, 3 days, a week? What would you do? What could you do? And maybe think about putting some resilience back into your preps, I guess. revisiting that, and yeah, then just getting on with it. Anyway, hope you have a great day. Kia ora. We'll ramble again tomorrow. Joy to the world. Ciao.